My name's Masha. My children, Scarlett and Ferris, and I have been coming to Lighthouse for about a year now, and it all started with an invite from one of my past students, Lily, and I'd like to share my story with you. I'm originally from Ukraine during communist Russia times, and my family was Jewish by heritage, but we didn't have any religious traditions because if you were found out to be Jewish, you would be persecuted. We constantly got death threats and different terrifying things, so there were no celebrations or holidays or religious practice. Back then, there were no ultrasounds, and so when I was to be born, my dad had decided that I was going to be a boy, and my name was going to be Masha. And when I wasn't, he was very disappointed and spent the rest of my life convincing me how worthless I was. No matter how hard I tried to be as successful as I could possibly be, it was never good enough. Which led me into one abusive relationship after another, because that feeling of worthlessness was something that I was taught to believe was true about myself. Most recently, I lost my sister. She was born disabled and in a communist life that was not acceptable. So when she was born, the doctors told my parents that they could just leave her and they would dispose of her. My mom, thank them, took her baby home and was the only one who believed in her ever. She had pneumonia 4 times in the last 5 years, and the most recent time she was in the hospital was a year ago, Mother's Day. And then she told me, "I'm feeling better now, I'm ready to go home." And that was the last day we had with her. So in the midst of all of that, my sweet student Lily asked me if I would like to come to her church Lighthouse with her. I came to church, cried the whole way through it, and ran out as quickly as I could with tears streaming down my face. And all of a sudden, this voice came behind me, "Hey, I need to meet you." It was Tyson, and he was trying to meet me. And throughout the weeks, everybody at Lighthouse just wrapped their arms around me. And then my children started coming too. Ferris had a hard time with the music, it was very loud for him, and he would shut his ears. And so many people came up and tried to hand him earplugs. "We've got earplugs, we've got earplugs." And I just thought that was so kind. They didn't even know us, they didn't even know him. And one week, one of the ushers named Dan came up to me and said, "Do you have the little boy, the one with the perfect hair? I got this for him." And he had bought him sound-canceling earmuffs, which was so thoughtful. I knew that this was my home and that this was Jesus wrapping his arms around me and my children, and I decided that I wanted to get baptized here. My sister's birthday would have been on August 9th, and it was a Monday, and I asked if they'd be willing to do the baptism out of the ordinary, not on a Sunday, but on a Monday instead. And they said, "We'll make it happen." So I got baptized by Tyson, surrounded by all of my friends and family. All of these years that I thought I was so worthless and deserved nothing. And then Pastor Kevin's sermon one day, and I know it wasn't for me, it was for everybody, but I felt like he was talking to me, and he said, "If God was looking you in the eyes right now, he would say, 'You are my daughter, with whom I am well pleased.'" And my own dad has never said those words to me. Something I've always longed to hear. And I heard them from my true father, and it meant everything. In this very difficult season of life, in fact, it's almost been my entire life, when I saw no light, Jesus was the light. And through Lighthouse, I have met him and gotten closer to him and gotten to truly know him and come to discover this life-giving Jesus who has changed my life in so many ways. And now, instead of being filled with sadness and despair and hopelessness, I'm filled with hope and love and faith and so many new friendships that I never could have imagined having. And it all started with that invite from Lily. One of my other students, Lauren, reached out to me during a difficult time, and I extended an invite to her. I said, "Would you like to come to church with me?" And I didn't think she would go for it, but she said, "Actually, I would really like that." Lighthouse has literally changed her life and saved her life on numerous occasions. When things have looked impossible, God would do the impossible for me, like bringing me here through an invite that was so unexpected. And now for Lauren, and hopefully for someone out there